Yes. Wish I could so many interests. I want to sit seriously. If I can feel that.
And readers.
But you and my first the other day, it was so hard. It's like, that's like, oh my God. And I needed to.
You've been doing sunshine research. Is that what this is about? Oh, that's Rachel.
You're not paying attention to the person.
Well,
Secretary.
Call a meeting to order, just, what is the meeting notes?
Yes.
You're gonna need a vote. Need somebody to fill in as secretary until Bill comes. I mean,
Everybody's here, please. That's not. Ian's not here, Ron's not here. Phil's here, but Phil, Ron, and Dan.
How many are we missing?
Paul's been called.
Great.
Only three. So we're good.
Yeah, Bill was.
okay, we got it. Until we can start the meeting. And budget. Congratulations.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A little out of order here. Normally we go to introduction and announcement. I mean, we have a few minutes, so we'll open to introductions and announcements. We see we have a new board member here today. Would you like to introduce yourselves to us?
Yes, my name is Erica Picard. I grew up in the area, lived here almost my entire life. I went to Palm Harbor Elementary, middle school, and high school, so I am total Palm Harbor kid here. I've got 3 kiddos. I got 9, 6, and a 2-year-old, and they're all at Sutherland Elementary. So that's where my kiddos go to school, and I live over in Westlake. I'm really close.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome. I just want to do that before we go further. We said you're not going to not knowing you. You know all of us, maybe we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm Sandy Faulkner. I'm the current chair. Go this way.
I'm Matthew David. I'm the director of the Palm Harbor.
Mark Sanders, Director, Eastlake Recreation.
Bill Westwood, Eastlake representative.
Bill Phillips, the Palm Harbor Parks and Rec.
Oh, she knows you.
I know you. I taught. I was. Yeah, we'll talk later.
Your kids are
All good.
No.
All good.
I'm Lois Zeno. I'm the director at Eastlake Community Library, and we have.
Yes.
Erica with a C spelled correctly from Palm Harbor Parks.
Right off.
Okay.
I'm Shelby Brennan, Administrative Coordinator, and we'll be talking again.
And we just met Beth Scheller with Human Resources Coordinator.
Yeah, you're not.
I just spoke it. I think, okay, sorry.
Kind of all back on the current treasurer.
We just met Andrew Salzman on the board attorney.
Welcome. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes of December 18th. 2024.
Motion approved.
You got it out. That's good.
Any corrections? Let's hear about Only I have correction for time, yeah, it started at 6:04, we still have the Christmas party, it was like 6:34, that's. Other than that, sorry.
We would no way we're hearing.
You can we share that in both, I think a little louder. Yeah. She got this, okay, no problem, thank you. Okay, any other additions or corrections to the minutes? All in favor, approval with the correction, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. You come out of order here. Did anyone, do you have a list?
Oh, yeah, nobody's speaking and, they promised.
Okay.
I promised.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. You want me to?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm Nancy McNiven. I'm assistant to the county administrator and I represent planning.
You didn't want to know your
Name.
Okay. All right,
Sandy, excuse me, did we find a temporary secretary?
No,
Or do we, oh,
we're relying on,
Forty.
okay, thank you. Gosh.
I mean, the truth be told, all we need for minutes is who was here, any motions, seconds, and what the vote was. That's all we actually.
our video's running again. Erica?
Yeah. the video.
The video's getting, okay.
I saw you over there.
Everybody speak up.
Okay, we get. Please your mind, like, I don't think we have any agency role changes. Oh, we do. Rules and catalog update, we started.
I promised a big draft thing, but that's not happening. I probably won't.
Yay!
And I sent everybody except when I got out of the car, I realized I didn't send one. But it's basically a table of contents of what I believe would be the biggest book we would have, and it had like 40 or so procedures that might need to be written, and the board has to decide at some point by process that I haven't figured out yet, but I'll get with Sandy and we'll figure out to say we don't have that yet, we need that, or we don't have that and we don't need it, and so just pick that off the list. And I did collect just 10 or so that we passed that I found in the minutes of all that. Short,
So the X's are the ones that represent what we already have.
oh, there you go. Yeah, the X's are the ones that have been written and they are actually pages in here. The others are just placeholders until we decide if we want those. So I sent it so everybody can look at it and then we'll have a discussion about how many of them we want in and how many we don't. And then we have to figure out a process to get them written. Bill has been working with me, but he may not be willing to write 40.
I think we have some of these we do have.
Right.
That are not listed.
Okay.
We have a social media policy.
Okay, well, I couldn't find those, I don't have those. So that's exactly the conversation we want to have. And so when we get done, oh, and the one thing is, you also need to look at the list and say, oh, you didn't put in something that I didn't think of, and I borrowed from other places most of the list. So we actually have a book that has some real information in it, but you still have to flesh out the rest of it. And I don't want to print 10,000 copies until we have something. And I will get Erica's information and send it to her, and I will send it tonight or in the morning. We'll want everybody, the director to talk at this. So I don't know, maybe we need to have a workshop or something so that we can just go through the list one time and say, those are the things we need for the future. Been talking to Beth some, and she says she might be able to help me out some, but it will be a burden to dump it all at one time. And so we have to work on that. That's one.
Actually, Ron, on that, and I was just a little confused on that because under major functions of FIXA board relating to entities, you have, for example, the DCF screening, FICSA recognized holidays. And then, as Andrew said, we have a lot of these in our employee handbook.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I X those that we do have. If you want that list, I can give it to you. But they're all,
Yeah, I just pulled up the handbook. We have
yeah, we have.
separate categories,
And
probably 10,
I've got 11
40.
policies, yeah.
yeah. 40
And
policies.
that's one of the discoveries I made. The other is that that Lois's, in her handbook for her entity, and there are a lot of those in there. So some of this will be just deciding, do we need to compile it, or do we just need to say refer to the employee? So I think what I discussed in the last between the meetings is that maybe we didn't need this as badly as we thought we did. If we just knew where all the information was. So, well, it's still worth doing because it'll be all in one place. So we'll talk about this more, but that's where we are.
What, Anders? How are we doing though?
Are we doing what?
How do you feel about it? About putting it all into one?
Well, I think we need to put it all into one book, but also I think that there should be one handbook for all entities. I understand the differences between.
It's actually,
Is it?
There is.
Okay.
it's an employee
There's
handbook.
employee.
Okay, definitely, okay.
And every person onboarded, every employee signs acknowledgement of receipt.
I didn't know when Ron was saying that Lois had one, and I know that there was different policies, but we had engorged everything into one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
there's bound to be some redundancy.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
But then there are always those unique situations where precedent is set, so we
Yeah.
respond by creating a policy, you know, to handle the situation.
So,
To
for
make
example,
things easier for
general-
staff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, sorry for interrupting, there's a general dress code, but then different entities are not gonna have exactly the same dress code. Because they do different kinds of work, and so there's a general one for the employee, but then it focuses in on within the entities that need that.
Right.
And then I also have a section in there that says these are the things, these are places that fix it. Just basically this board. There are some things that apply only to it, and so that's also how. Well, there's a rule that a board member can't go out and tell the director, you need to change that. And the chairman is no different and more powerful than any other of the 7, 8 members. And those are things that would be in effect and that's just fixable.
Right.
So again, I think we're way down the road and after Andy got done telling me that, we're further down the road. So we can do that, and when we get done, there may be new things that somebody, and this would be a good time to do that since we're investing time and effort in it, to say, in the perfect world, what else would we like to say in that book? That's where we are, and hopefully we'll be done with it by next month or the one after that.
So I'm just backing up, our intent originally was to, this is a guide, it's a roadmap, more or less, but our intent was to start documenting and have one place where every motion that we make, every rule that everything we change is documented, because we were losing track of, like, if we vote that, fix-a meetings can't happen on a full moon, where do we keep that? Where do we know that? Because it gets forgotten. So,
And another point is,
or anything.
Dan and somebody from East Library, they've been keeping a list of the motions. Yeah, they gave me a copy and I would do that. A lot of the motions don't belong in there because they're to adjourn the meeting, to wish somebody happy birthday, a lot of other things that don't have to do with rules, policies, or procedures. I mean, we don't want to be a full book anyhow, so we don't want to put a lot of stuff there.
But then once you finish it, then who's the keeper of it?
We haven't determined that, but probably, I already told Beth, probably her, or.
The office, I think.
Yeah, we talked about, we didn't decide, I just said, I'm gonna be done with it soon, and then there'll be so many problems.
So then it's really where I'm going here. So then somebody's got to review what you've done to make sure we are doing what we've voted for us to do over the years.
It was my belief that at some point, the book will be laid out, and the board will have to say pretty much that, yes, all those 48 things, if that's how many there are, all those 48 things are our rules. And I want to tell you that I would do this when Bill's here so he can defend himself, but he has a lot of opinions about what a rule is, a policy, and a procedure, and how to, he wants to know what that, but the separation of it, but regardless of what we call it, it'll all be in this one place, and it'll be electronic. So we will all be able to go to it and scope it and find it, stuff that comes up, we'll be able to search it and see what our policy is. And if we don't have one, then that's the sign for you. On the other hand, your rules are not a bad thing. Not important.
I think you should have at least one hard copy and have that to be full.
I agree.
Just, if I get paid to keep it up, but how often have we sat there? Did you go on 3 years ago? Did you do that?
Well, and the problem too, Madam Chair, is that 6 years ago, we might have voted on something and Phil wasn't on the board.
Exactly.
So this current board may not be aware of something that a former board voted on.
And that happens a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Well, and lately, we've been relying on the attorney to keep track of it.
Money well spent, guys. Money well spent.
Am I going somewhere?
No,
I
well,
hope not.
Listen, a lot of times we say, hey, did we vote on that? And that's where this, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what we started with. That was.
Yes.
We started the whole.
Yes.
A little confusion.
and the board will definitely have to put its stamp of approval on it because
It can't always be ask Andy.
I don't make, yeah, and I don't make policies, I just, I capture them. That's the biggest.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to more stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Except for he wasn't here last week. I don't know, 2 meetings. Yes.
Look it up.
Yeah,
it's right. Book them up.
the next thing, I'm kind of moving this up. I had an email, I don't know how many of you are aware, so I'm gonna read the email that I got from Matthew. But it was sent from all four directors. He actually sent it, physically sent it, and it was a long record. And it's.
He lost the vote. He had to do it. He lost the vote. We all voted and he had to do
You
it.
have, okay, you made. News person, news person on the block, that's good work, okay, so, it's up. We would like to request that the HR report be removed as a recurring item on the monthly board meeting agenda. Beth and Shelby may not always attend board meetings, and the four of us are happy to retrieve information for the board anytime when requested, and we can delegate requests to Beth and Shelby as needed. We are also going to take some time this year to evaluate what measurable data is available from the activities of our coordinators as they continue growing into their roles. We do, all four of us, agree that reporting on the HR and administrative functions of FIX would make sense in some contexts and should have a better idea in the next few months what that would look like. Thank you, Happy New Year. And basically, I guess what the purpose is to take to remove those reports from our agenda. And I wrote back to him that I would bring it up at the meeting. I wasn't going to make that decision unilaterally. It was really up to everybody, not me alone. So that's why we brought it up at the meeting. And it's open for discussion.
You want a motion first and then we can discuss?
Can I make a motion?
So I'll move that we remove the requirement to have HR report on our agenda and the requirement to have the HR office or administrative office present at every.
Okay, okay, good discussion.
Discussion is the reason we made them do this is because we changed the position and made the position report to us. So we wanted them to be here to report to us at every meeting because they couldn't report to us individually. So at this point, the way we've restructured, then it only makes sense. They work hand in hand with the directors. The directors know as much as they do coming into it. That's where the issues are going to be. If something comes up and we need to know it, they can put it on the agenda and attend the meeting. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, I have a little disagreement, I guess, on my side with this, because I feel like having either or, I don't necessarily think they both need to be at every meeting. But very often, we have gone to, at our meetings, we've had questions. And a lot of times we had to wait till the next meeting. We couldn't vote off because we couldn't have access to the information. They weren't here. I mean, I'm fine. I don't think both you need to come to every meeting. I agree there, but just one. And then also it's helpful to have somebody who types our attendance in the audience and does some of this that Shelby does so nicely every single month. And when you sit here, you don't have to do all that. You come in and somebody's reading or yes, finding out if there's speakers. I think it helps to have an administrative person here. That's my perspective.
Well, HR is, Shelby is admin for the fix of board. We're just saying Beth doesn't need to be here.
Well, I kind of,
Shelby
the
would
motion
because
kind of,
she's the-
motion kind of took them both in.
Well, but there's two, the other 2 separate people.
Yeah.
We made sure to make that split when we made the changes.
But I would say Shelby is admin for the organization, not specifically the board.
Correct.
And we can talk about some of those duties. I'd be curious to see what kind of information the directors might not have if they would. Certainly there is some information they have, that we might not have, but what might that be?
I can't think, but I know it's been, when at the period of time when we had nobody at the meetings, we would have to postpone votes because
It was mostly HR.
it wasn't mostly HR.
Right. That was when we had one HR person,
Right.
and we do, but now we have, but that HR person was
But
also
most of
doing
those,
the
most of
admin.
those questions were administrative, that we would have to wait for the end.
But Sandy, makes a point. I mean, it is nice. I hate to dump on Shelby, but it's nice to have somebody here that actually does poll the visitors and gets that together because, none of us take that upon ourselves to do. It's, we have, we're volunteers, we're here. I mean, we do as much. I mean, and I know what Sandy has to do as chairman, been there, done that. So it's quite a bit of work on us too. So
It's not a big, tonight, one, 4 or 5, but what about the nights when we've had 15, 20, and they all want to talk? If that's left to the board, we're trying to manage that and listen and vote. And I think that, and we never know when that's gonna happen. You don't get a notice in the mail that you're gonna get a crap. We have come in, and that's why in anticipation, you just can't anticipate that all the time. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Well, I don't want to speak for all 4 of the directors. I think we probably had more HR in mind when we were having a discussion. Thinking that, doing meaningful reports is important. Like I said in the email, that there may be times, even if it's once a year, twice a year, where we want to kind of go deep on some of the goings on of the office, whether it be HR or administrative coordinating. But we haven't quite figured that out yet, because even though they're not brand new in their roles, the relationship is still relatively new. We're trying to figure that out. But again, I don't want to speak for all 4 directors in terms of whether or not Shelby was here, but I can say, I think we were mostly thinking of the HR aspect of the report and that presence. And I don't know if we really discussed the nitty gritty of anything that Shelby may or may not do at meetings, unless I'm misremembering. Yes, Eric?
I was just waiting to be recognized, but I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Trying to follow Robert's Rules of Order. We have a new board member. Two things, just to add to the conversation. It'll be the only night. So two things I just would like to add to the conversation. One is we don't require any of our employees to come to these meetings. Hourly employees. I do force my management to be here. But they're not required to come to every single meeting, number one. These are basically our employees, so I think the same rules would apply. The other thing that I think it's sometimes during really busy times for administrative and HR, they're hourly employees. They only have a finite amount of time. Lois, Mark, Matthew, my management that's here, Matthew's management, we're salaried. So if we end up at a 3-hour fix-it meeting, we end up at 53 hours that week, too bad, so sad. These guys are hourly. They're not allowed to have overtime. She's part-time. So if she's here for 2 or 3 hours on a Wednesday night, then we lose her administrative time during the week. And like right now, she's working on the audit. I don't know, I can't speak to it, but I'm thinking it's taken up a lot of your time based on what I know about the audit for my time. So that was one of the things that hedged my decision when we talked about it, the 4 of us together, is their time is better spent most of the time doing what they need to do. Beth has done 2 recent full-time orientations for us in the last 2 weeks and been a part of, being at our entity. I know she's helping Lois with onboarding her new assistant. So there's a lot of HR stuff going on right now. And as we grow, it's Parks and Rec, she's going to get busier here in a minute when summer camps turn. So it's hard to add more time to their days in something that, yes, I mean, I could pass, I'm here, I could take 1 month and get everybody's name in the audience. And to your point, Sandy, it's very rare that we have more than 5 or 10 people. It's when there's an issue. And that has happened maybe once every couple of years. Knock on wood. It's been a while. We'd like to keep it that way. So that's just my quarter's worth, if it matters.
I'm of 2 minds here. It is nice when there is an HR issue that comes up at the meeting that wouldn't have to be tabled, but I can understand, that side of it more. I think Shelby, as the, PHCSA administrator coordinator, okay, would certainly be valuable to have here. And yes, I understand, she is part-time, but we have at least defined now, part-time goes up to almost 30 hours a week. So for once a month, whether it's, and hopefully it won't be 3-hour fix meetings anymore, that, if we can, allot for that once a month for, maybe 2 to 3 hours that 1 week. Okay, I think, it is beneficial to have her at this meeting now that I'm thinking back and reevaluating what our discussion was.
Why couldn't we, try to do something that would kind of work together, and maybe we could have like on a Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Have them being here, and if something came up, we could make a phone call. And to answer a question that might arise.
Yeah.
Paying for that on call.
Right, if something came up.
No.
Right, well, no, if you're putting them on call, you have to pay them if you call them or not.
Yeah.
So why not have them here?
Yeah.
You're gonna pay them no matter what.
Because they wouldn't have to be here if we didn't have a question.
But they're still gonna get paid. To Erica's point, there's 2 or 3 hours, and I get exactly what you're saying, and I do. Because Shelby and I have been on the phone a couple of times this week in regards to the audit. But if we put them on call, we have to pay them, compensate them for their hours, whether we call them or not. So that's what I'm getting at. So we should be better off to have them here.
We have a motion that's combined, maybe we want to split it, the actual report, the actual written report, 1 minute, and then we're talking about having here.
Well, and if I could speak for Bill, he's not here, he might argue to make sure that for the board to have a continued understanding of what's happening personnel wise, eagle eye view, that information is important. And so for that aspect of the request, I'll just say, according to what I sent you, it is top of mind for us to know, to have that in mind. So like we we could potentially, like semi-annual or annual basis, have some kind of report that looks at the goings on of the organization, because it's information that Beth has access to anyway. But we're not sure exactly what that might look like from the, again, that's just from the report aspect of it. And if you want to split it out or table it, we have had a chance to talk extensively about the other things, or make sure we understand exactly what would be needed from Shelby specifically at meetings. I think you talked about, what was it, attendance?
Yeah, making sure if there's somebody in the audience we need to recognize. We don't know everybody by sight.
Go back to the motion to remove the report from our agenda and don't require either one of them to attend. Our directors, through Erica and her bringing the other directors into her volunteering, means all four of them will assist in.
I never said that.
They would assist in helping us with our audience.
I'm happy to do it.
I don't think any
Very
of
rarely
them-
miss a meeting,
I
so.
don't think any of them would not.
Yeah.
So I think we're fine with that. I don't think that we have any, HR, we don't need I mean, we've got the people who are dealing daily with HR are our directors now, not us. We don't need that. So I don't think we need either one of them here for the meeting. That's my opinion. I'll let the motion stand as it is, and you can vote on it.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Call.
Okay. Ready? All in favor of having either Shelby or Beth here and not having any written reports, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's a split.
Tie. What happens with the
Wait,
tie?
we
Can't be a tie.
the hands for yes on the motion.
We could probably say it for the recording too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said,
Everybody has to vote, just so you know.
Everybody has votes. There's five of us, so there has to be
There's
5
two-
votes.
There's two yes
So it's gonna fail.
It's gonna fall on Eric.
and 3 no.
and it's gonna fall on Erica, our new one, with a K.
I mean, I feel like there's more information that I haven't heard enough conversation to make a decision on it. I feel that I am.
Sorry. Too bad.
Is this something that we can revisit if it doesn't work out?
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
At any time.
Then go home.
That's 3 yeses, 2 no's, and it passed.
Correct.
Yes.
But yes, you can change your
And,
policy.
and as a follow-up, if you don't mind, that's the reason I didn't want to change it, because we can, if it doesn't work, if we have a stalemate, we can always change it. And we can always ask Shelby, and if Shelby feels like she's got to bring something, ain't nothing keeping her from coming, she can ask our permission to be here so we can pay her.
So can I throw one more thing? We all have a meeting pretty soon here. I think we'll probably discuss this a little bit more because there's aspects of it we did not discuss. In addition to the idea of like whether one of us could help out with a specific meeting, it goes without saying, I hope it goes without saying, if there's ever an anticipated need of a meeting, whether it be HR or administrative, or just simply like we need more hands on deck, and you want us to invite our coordinators, want both of them, we're all, if you need information from them, or if you need us to actually invite them to come to the meeting, we're always receptive to that. We're always able to add on. But we thought, well, maybe let's keep it simple for now. Do what what we think might be mindful and best. And then, like you said, like you all were basically saying, let's see how it works. So.
All right, we're moving on and go on to the treasury report, John.
No I'm gonna start with no abnormalities are found. Everyone's spending the money very wisely. Budgets look very good to date. I will say that I'm not very happy with our representatives from Cadence after putting me through a heart attack and me through a heart attack last month, half of the board. But as you saw from my email, for informational purposes only, that all of our funds are in public funds accounts. They are protected beyond the $250,000 under federal insurance. So we are good to go with that. If the director, you find that Cadence is actually able to get you a better deal on CDs, I know some of you have outliers and that's fine. You're stewards of that. We're just monitoring that money. But if you get a better rate within Cadence, I would say go for it. I don't think that's gonna happen now because interest rates are falling, but still.
But,
Yes, Lois.
but John, isn't it so that all four entities being under one EIN cannot have a total of more than 250,000 in the
No.
CDs or no?
That is incorrect. You can have as much in there because they are public funds accounts. That's how they're looked upon.
Okay,
So as public funds accounts, they put a surety up that
Okay.
they will cover anything over and above the 250,000.
okay.
So Cadence has done that. So our funds are protected.
Thank you for that.
That was the
clarification.
biggest concern. Yes, Eric.
Did we get anywhere yet with the ACH versus writing checks?
They're still working on that. They're kind of on my naughty list right now, just because of the headache I had for the past month. Now that we've got Bill signed off on the checks and checking accounts, and now we have to do it again with Erica. So Erica, you're gonna be getting an email. So updated, you'll get a fix-it email through the board. And logins and everything else like that. All communications go through that. You will be getting soon, probably in the next month, Shelby. We're gonna have to do signature cards, so you'll get an electronic signature card you'll need to sign, because you would do all that signing authority on the entities accounts. So you'll get that. We just finished that up, so now we gotta do it again.
Is the board aware of that conversation? I don't remember when we met with Cadence, like what we were attempting to do, and we found out that there is a way to have dual authentication electronically so that we can
Yeah,
stop
I did
bringing.
bring that up in the last.
I can't remember. the
Yeah,
time.
no, I want to say I brought that up in the last meeting, but
Okay,
yes, we're looking at doing ACH versus writing checks all the time. Having the ability to do ACH to specific vendors, and maybe completely getting away with checks. If they want to pick up a check, they come and pick it up. Cost savings is there, that we got the information back. It's going to save the entities some money on checks, time, postage, and everything else like that.
And it's more secure.
secure.
And it's more secure, right? It's a lot more secure.
Mhm.
So that is, we pull the trigger basically on that, from my understanding, anytime, but I will verify that with them tomorrow morning, and then I'll let you guys know by tomorrow.
And is there anything we need to do at a board level to make that happen? Or are we okay?
No.
As long as there's two authorizations on it?
Yeah. And it'll be the entity director, and actually anybody who has signatory authority on the accounts, the four directors would be the ones who have.
And from what I recall, there's some scanning equipment or something we're supposed to receive.
If
for
you
that?
wanted that for the check scan. So
Okay.
let's talk
That's
about
for
that. Yeah,
deposits.
that's for the
No.
check deposits.
Right.
If you want to do that, there is that, but then there's that monthly fee, but
Monthly
that's up to you guys
Right.
if you want to do it.
Mhm,
We had talked about maybe just doing one for you
mhm.
over on your side, and Mark, if you had any checks, which you
Yeah.
probably don't get a lot, but if you needed to
Mhm.
deposit them, you could go to Lois's facility and do it versus going all the way to the bank.
Mhm.
Erica and Matthew, you guys are close enough to the bank where you
Yeah.
can go over there. If you wanted the check scanner, hey, I would say get one more, maybe put it at the library, or Erica put it by you, and vice versa. Do it that way it's on your side. This is our mission. They're local here in Palm Harbor, but there's one over on US 19, north of Alderman.
Tom, you're saying that there wouldn't be board signature on these, just the directors would be double.
No, it would have to be a board signature. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Just like now, like Erica may come to me to have checks signed, she can go to Phil, but she can also go to Mark. She can go to Bill, she can go to any of them to have, rather than Bill. I'm sorry, not Mark. Eight things mixed up. She can go to Bill and have Bill sign it. I mean, I'm saying it's the lowest.
Yeah.
So-
The beauty is I can call you and say, yeah, say my checks are ready. Sandy, can you log in and approve
Well,
them?
somebody said maybe.
Yeah,
no. That's why.
No.
Yeah.
One entity person, one.
Right.
Yeah, just clarify that, that's the way it should be.
Cancel the Maserati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go.
But yes, Sandy, exactly like Erica said, she would then contact you, me, anybody saying, hey, can you log in and approve these ACHs? And we
That's good.
And I mean, the post office lost 3 checks in 2024 for us, so I had to stop payment on them, reissue. So with the post office getting better and better
Yeah.
at their jobs, this would be a much more secure, efficient way to pay bills.
As well.
Yes.
Just paying postage and.
Envelope, check, postage, time, all
Right, exactly.
And the possibility of fraud.
Yep, Mark knows about
Any other
that.
questions?
I
Yeah,
did
Mark
too.
knows that.
I had two $4,000 checks
Anybody have any other questions?
with my signature.
All in favor, accepting John's treasurer report, say aye.
Aye.
Maybe
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
you can do that. Okay, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Can I vote on that?
It's that Robert's Rules thing that Erica keeps reading.
It's a book right here.
We voted tonight.
Yeah. It's the first after the holidays.
Yeah. We're not used to it.
We're not used to working.
Come November, we'll be really good.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the monthly financial report for December for Eastland Parks?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
That was intense.
That were all. Any discussion on financial? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to accept the director's report to Eastland Parks and Rec.
I so move.
I second.
There you go.
Mark, here from you.
Okay, the big things for, my director's report, there's a couple things, is that the Meadows update, they started the topo survey and, the environmental survey, so, yay.
Yay.
Moving forward. Bad news is, the first day they ever said we had a lot of, COVID cases out there. So that's gonna be an issue.
That was yesterday.
Yeah.
That's not to be.
Yeah. The other things is, I'm improving our gate entry system. So I'm upgrading that, and also our video security systems being upgraded will be much more user friendly. And I'll have access to, who's coming and going a lot better. We've had some issues out there with kids getting on the speedo driveway, getting the light codes and, those kinds of things. But, the other thing I wanted to report is, we started our, top soccer program again. You know, I keep talking about the top soccer program with, kids with disabilities. And we had the first night, we have 20 that are registered. We had 15 show up the first night. And we have 2 students or 2 players from our soccer club to 1 kid with a disability. So it's really nice. And then this year we went to making it more like the same ages. So if the kid is like 10 years old, then try to match him with kids or his age, and then another older kid. So it's a 2-to-1 deal. It's great for the parents. The kids love it. Everybody learns from it. It's a wonderful program. We have feed them and give them little snacks out there as well. So if you're ever around on a Friday night, come up, check it out. It's pretty cool. Other thing, big thing about, I know there's been discussion about, how we operate our model out there is different than what Erica does in her parks and recreation. We don't charge user fees. Just an example, for this year on baseball, they spent $73,000 on dugouts. They put in $3,500 in new dryers in the bathrooms. They did put in $16,000 on field repairs. So, and pressure washing and things like that. So they spent about $93,000 a year. This year, when I know that's high for a year, generally it's around 40 to 45,000. But, that's just an example of how, what we do with, in our model is we give ownership to the sports teams and make them more responsible for their own facilities. And I put in some of the money for that too, and offset some of the things, like for the baseball dugouts, I put $20,000 towards that project. So, just wanted to throw that out there because that's pretty
That's
cool.
just for baseball they put in that much money?
Yes, that's just baseball.
Oh, it's just baseball put in.
So the other exciting thing is we've got a new president for our football league. There's some exciting things happening there. We're thinking about changing leagues and thinking about getting into Pop Warner now. I think they've applied for that. And getting out of the PAL league. We have a new president who has some real fresh ideas. And we started a new flag football league, with Under Armour. And we have like 200 kids registered already for that also. Things are moving. That's it for me. Any questions?
Great finding your user groups.
Yeah.
And they pay their own utility bills too. We don't pay for utilities, lighting. I mean, what baseball, they're paying 4,000 a month. Wow. And they all do that, all three sports.
That's awesome.
But they are contributing, whether it's one or the other.
Right. It'll be the same. Probably more than you get in using group, for sure. I don't think you get that. They would just.
Well, it helps keep them involved in the field and taking care of them. Taking other things that
Yeah.
doesn't pay.
Another question? Ashley, Berrigan, maybe it's new to you.
Yeah, so, obviously my sons and I play for our Little League, so I have interest in Little League stuff and all that. So the families that were contributing the $70,000 to the Little League, that's what you're talking about, right? They gave, put money towards those fields,
Well,
the dugouts.
they have their own source of funding. Some
Right,
of that
right,
comes through participation fees,
Right.
other through other forms of fundraising and things that they have. There's advertising that they do. They have concessions, there's other forms of money that they raise over the years.
So basically, if they're raising money and want to make things better, they have, as long as they're in communication with you and I guess the board, then they can do the fundraising for that?
They have to go through me first.
Yeah.
In order to make any improvements.
Right, of course.
So,
But if it's bettering the environment in the fields,
absolutely,
making
yeah.
it more,
And, and like I said, before, many times, God will help them with that.
yeah,
But if they're doing well and they have, sufficient funds, it's in our contract with them, our user agreement with them that they need to pay for those things. Now, not the general things, not like the mowing of fields or
Yeah.
any of that stuff,
Yeah.
but like any improvements that they might want to make.
improvements, yeah.
And, if they're good stewards with their money, as they go forward, they build that up, and they've built that up over the, several years.
Yeah.
So, and then
Great.
when they have enough money to do these big projects, right now we have a project that they want to put in a new roof on the concession stand. And I think our bid was around $20,000. And I know Nancy sent me, the possibility that at one time we weren't able to do this with the MSU funds.
So that was because it was, a request for consumable things like helmets and jerseys and stuff.
Okay.
We looked at that, need and the county is going to, fund a grant for improvements that create, put equipment in house. Yeah, so like.
I forgot I changed my,
Okay.
I'm dancing.
So, and I will say too, that 95,000, there could be, some of that money, they may have gotten some grant money from too. So,
Okay.
but they'll raise it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. We have I just had baseball, their bylaws too. I'm checking all the bylaws of the sports teams now, so we're kind of all on the same page, know what everybody's doing. Yeah, it's I'm excited about with our new football president. He's got some new young guy, got some new fresh ideas, and really excited about the new flag football league because we increased. I think we were about at 50 last year. Was it 400?
We have 400 kids, not 200.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's just on a Friday night, so crazy. The kids they get a couple jerseys and pair of shorts and, it's, when we don't have to run everything. They run most of the stuff. We do have to provide coaches and, stuff like that, but, they also have concessions and get all the concession money, so it's a fundraiser for them as well.
Any other questions, Mark? All in favor of accepting the display director's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Any Alderman?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Moving on, do we have a motion to accept the monthly financials for December for the Palm Harbor Library?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have a motion to accept the director's report for Palm Harbor Library.
So moved. That was by Erica with a K.
That's right.
Make sure it's on those.
Other.
The other
So, I won't go into the nitty gritty and I'll list a couple things here that's actually tip of the iceberg for all the kind of winter holiday events that we do, programs. But those were really, well attended and lots of smiles coming out of those in December. But I will pull out, the intro to robotics because it was a part of a strat plan and it's also still relatively new for us because it was a coding, program that we hadn't really done before. Big bulk of the funds raised for that was from our friends in the library, didn't even come out of the library's budget, which was nice. And they result, the weekly programs result in these sort of meetups or BattleBot, championships that are, like I said, really well attended and a nice achievement from the kids who are devoting all this time to learning coding and actually building things. Hopefully our future engineers. And so the one we did on December 10th had over 80 in attendance. Moving down to facilities, our front sliding glass doors are still awaiting maintenance. We're actually getting ready to call them Ghostbusters, I think, because they seem a little resistant. But we are, we've kind of been breathing life into those for many, many years. And now it's, we had a meeting with Nancy recently, the board of directors. It looks like the county is going to be able to look at replacing those doors, but it's on the envelope of the building, which is consistent with how the county has been able to come in and help the different entities over time. So I'm going to be communicating with our contact there, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that that gets done. It is starting to become a little bit of a safety issue, and so we're hoping that we'll be able to move quickly on that. And I will give the floor to and introduce to you our Assistant Director, Kathy Ross, to talk about Artful Evening. I'll hand these out.
Next Friday is our annual fundraiser, Artful Evening, Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $25, $35 at the door. You get wine, cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, live band, and 10 local artists who will be demonstrating their works and also showcasing their works. And you get to see your fellow directors in action, bartending. Or doing 50-50 raffles. We also have something.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Yeah, it's even if it wasn't a fundraiser, it's a pretty cheap date. So you get a lot for a little. Plus the silent auction she mentioned is a great gift buying thing because there's a wide variety of things that you get to choose from in addition to art, not just exclusively art.
If you've never heard Voices of Jazz, you're missing out. You should go just for that. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a jazz fan, but I'm a fan of them. They're awesome.
Yeah. I do have more of these. If you can't attend, please do pay it forward. Try to spread the word is what I meant to say.
These are free tickets.
Yeah. No, they're free.
Free advertising.
But yeah, it's really the only fundraiser we actually had planned for this year. So we'd really love to see. We still have, I think, at least 80 or 90 tickets available. Although ticket sales are going steady. So please do spread the word on that. And then, like our other entities, will be closed on MLK. on Monday, and I think that's all I'm gonna report for today.
Okay. Any questions? Oh, also, speaking of our robotics team, they're actually at Palm Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
But they're visiting the high school robotics team.
So one thing I didn't mention is one of the ways we were able to make this happen is we had a volunteer from Palm Harbor U come in and really help organize the whole program. And so because of that, we've been able to do outreach in addition to the actual instruction and coding, experience. So,
She will one day.
oh yeah. Beyond that.
Yeah, Vivian. He's a college student now. She started out with robotics at West Christian and then went on to Palm Harbor U, and now she's in college. So she's mentoring younger.
She's a quiet powerhouse. She really is. Yeah.
Don't make all in favor of accepting like library director's report, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone? Moving on, we need a motion to accept the East Lake Library Financial Center.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussions on the East Lake Library? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and we need a motion to accept East Lake Library's director.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So it's
Okay, thank you. First of all, we are very happy to announce that our capital campaign for our phase 2 expansion is moving forward after the delays from the hurricane season. We have reserved Wentworth Country Club for the private event booked for brunch, which you will all get invitations to. It is rescheduled for Sunday, March 2nd at 1 p.m. We do have special guest, former state senator Jack LaFava to speak, as well as our architect consultant, John Toppy. So just a couple of hours of your time. We will have renderings of our vision for the phase 2 expansion. Obviously, they're just our vision. We're not yet in a design and construction phase, but hopefully that will come in the next year or so. So I want to make sure that everybody knows about that. Save the date. The invitations will go out, this weekend or Monday. So be on the lookout for that. We also are very excited about the fact that we have hired a wonderful new assistant director with the loss of Susan Schuler returning to New York. Her name is Anne Marie Nuremberger. She is the library manager from Dunedin Library. Excellent reputation, interviewed very well. My group from our advisory board and friends board participated in the interview process and we're very impressed with her. So we are very happy. We hope to see her starting February 3rd. Our other issue for a time we started, as you know, passport services have been a boon for us as far as a revenue stream, but also as a service to the community. We are averaging over the last few years since we started this almost 1,000 passports a year. So it's an amazing thing. So back in the end of September, we started the fingerprinting service. That was a rocky road. Okay, a lot of bumps along the way. Part of it was the equipment, the less than satisfactory customer service. We were at the point where we were ready to throw in the towel and say no. I worked with the support team there at Certifix, which is the company that we used, and they have sent us, they recalibrated the equipment. They sent us a membrane to better catch the fingerprints on the live scan, and we are now back in business, but with a caveat to that is we are also now, after investigating, starting to do school personnel and volunteers, and that is huge. We are the only game in town along the East Lake corridor, and I feel that this is going to be a wonderful service for the local school personnel and volunteers. I've already been in touch with the Pinellas County Schools, and starting February 3rd, we will be accepting appointments for them. We do have to limit appointments to 3 days a week to certain hours, only because it takes a lot of staff time, and these are staff members who are doing a lot of other things in addition to the fingerprint service. But it provides a service, and it provides another source of income. So we're very happy that, this change came about. Other than that, our MSTU project proposal is into the county for the asphalt overlay. So we are waiting on that. And other than that, we are in the process of planning for spring and summer programs. We have the concert series by the Friends going on right now. The first one this coming Sunday, which is from the Florida Orchestra. It is a Baroque music from an ensemble. They're supposed to be outstanding. We do fundraisers too. We had our murder mystery, but next month, February 4th is Homemade Soup Day. You haven't had my homemade soup, you're missing out. No, it is takeout though, and it's free to first responders. So wanted to let you know about that. And back to passports, we are doing the second annual passport fair the end of February. Last year was the first time we did it. It's all hands on deck on a Saturday, and we did 30 passports in one day. So it's walk-in only. So if you know of anyone, it's certainly a good time to come and get your passports.
Yay.
Lois, I have a question.
Yes.
So with all the coaches now having to do the.
Yes. Yes.
What is the charge that you guys are charging for that service?
All right. So depending upon which type of tests that have to be sent in, background checks, there are government fees which vary. For the school volunteers, it comes to about $28. But then on top of that, there is our service fee, which is normally $35. However, for people like PHCSA employees and volunteers, as well as for the school volunteers who have to pay it themselves, we reduce the charge, our service charge, to $20. And that just about covers, because a percentage of what we charge for the service fee is paid to Certifix, but we want to keep it to keep it, reasonable, because it's a shame the volunteers.
So total, what you're thinking, like.
Well, for them, it's 48.
Okay, so because I know that our Under Armour, all our coaches just had to do that there. They charge them $80 a pop.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's a good
Yeah,
deal.
that's great.
Yeah. No, we will work with you. I mean, especially if people have to pay for it themselves, if it's employer paid, if the employer saying they're paying for it, that's another thing. But, we're making money regardless, but, the main thing is we're a community center. We're trying to provide services, and there's nothing close by. The closest one is off Tampa Road in 19. So there's nothing along East Side Corridor unless you go all the way down to Clearwater. We will work with it.
Any
Awesome.
questions?
Mhm.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor of accepting the director's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I do have to say, if you have old fingers like me, the fingerprints take harder, they're harder to get.
Mine are.
Yeah.
Less fun.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
I figured I'd throw it out.
Yeah, no, the Chianti, that's all right.
Okay, moving, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll move to.
I'll second it.
As the for the Palm Harbor Park and Rec.
Shows.
All in favor, any questions? All in favor?
Aye. I move to accept the director's report.
Parks and Rec.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, Eric.
Since you made me go last, I thought of a lot of things I didn't put in the report. But did you guys have an opportunity? I'll just remind you, because it was in the report, the west side of the Putnam Field project that was approved before the hurricanes. We're actually going to start that work hopefully next month with the tree trimming, fence work, and the netting. So I just wanted to remind you that was happening when you sign those checks. You won't think I forgot to get it approved. We attended a virtual budget meeting with the Office of Budget and Management to get a very initial forecast from them. And I don't know, Lois and Mark, if you were there, I know Matthew was on that call also, but the feeling that I got, and I don't know if Matthew did, is they are projecting flat or decrease. Chris told his whole staff to make sure that their department's budget flat right now. So that is what I took away from it. I don't know, Matthew, if you took anything else different away.
I mean, I think the sense I got was flat, but the idea of cutting costs was in order to be able to meet flat.
Right.
If that makes sense, because everything goes up every year.
Yeah, so
that was the sense I
yeah,
got.
I did my initial forecast with a flat budget from this year, and I'm hoping he's wrong. In my report, I had mentioned we were waiting on Spectrum to move their cabling off of the old Duke pole at Sunderman to the new. That actually occurred at 2:30 this afternoon. So that means that pole that's in the way of construction of the third building down there can be taken out by Duke now that that's done. We did see some action next door to the center at the older building. They were doing soil drilling. I don't really know a lot of what that geos drilling is all about, except to check for the compaction level of the dirt and if there's a sinkhole there before they start demolition and footing. So I think the project's really going to happen. So we've been waiting for, 18 years. So here we go. That was exciting to see that. I did just meet the county out here this morning about the water intrusion in the chapel that we've been talking about, I think, for 3 years. I've lost count. He in fact said, oh, yeah, that's definitely water intrusion. So he's ordering a water test, which basically he thinks the bricks might be leaking, which means it's an envelope issue. And so that we'll get some help hopefully with the county on that. But they'll basically come out and spray water on it and see if they can see where the actual water is intruding that building. I have been trying really hard as a nonprofit to get some FEMA reimbursement for all the damages we sustained at Sunderman, because that was the most significant damage that we had. They just, as of Monday, I submitted two more reports. Thank you, Shelby, for providing the info that I needed. They needed the ordinance and our lease agreement, and I will now sit and wait for them to tell me what else they need. My hope gets diminished every time they email me that we're going to get any of that money back. In July of 2025, I don't know if any of you know, it's the 100th birthday of Palm Harbor, and Matthew and I sit on the Main Street board now, and we had a meeting today, we were discussing it. So there will be a celebration, probably a week to 10 days long in July. As we prepare as a board more and more and as committees toward that, it should be a super fun time. And I had no idea Palm Harbor was 100 years old. The museum is very active in that celebration, and they'll provide some historical background. And we're hoping that we can provide some history at Pop Stanzel. There's a time capsule buried there. And I've been in touch with the family because they don't want to unearth it for another 30 years, is it, Stephen? And I'm trying to get them to unearth it early for the 100th birthday, and then we'll resync it at, I'm hoping, the center where, the hub of Palm Harbor. So we're working on that, but I just thought I'd tell this board to keep an eye out for the calendar, because I think July is going to be a fun week to 10 days. Right, Nancy?
Yes.
And I'll add a quick postscript, like extra information. So that 100 years is when we started being called Palm Harbor. So that was the centennial of the nation.
Yeah. Our NFL flag group just started back up, I think 2 weeks ago, and they have over 200 kids playing at center field. So if you are trying to do anything is it Saturday or Sunday, Stephen, that they play? On a Sunday at the center, you'll probably end up parking at the Y, because we won't have any parking at the center. And Erica, just to answer for the local Little League, and I don't know, as a parent of Little League, if you're aware, they have done the same thing. They invested over $250,000 into Sunderman this last year, and we partnered with some netting project with them down there as well. Because to Mark's point, if they're investing the dollars they've saved over the last 5 years or whatever, they're more invested in keeping it nice. So they redid some dugouts. They redid some of one of their prestige fields, the one that's all fenced in that the older kids play on. And so it was a large investment for them. So they also requested that we guarantee them that we'll continue the user agreement for, was it a 5-year period?
Yeah.
A minimum of 5 years. And we agreed to that since they invested, $250,000.
And they invest every year.
Yeah.
No, they don't, but they don't invest in
Not
that.
that much.
No, they pay their user fees and they do some minor repairs and maintenance, but that was a huge encumbrance. They added shade coverings, they've added bleachers.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, if I'm being completely honest, in the county, it was at the point where it's almost embarrassment for families to be at our fields. So, and that's not just me, Erica speaking, that's all my friends, parents and parents and parents. And I don't serve on their board or anything like that, just so you guys know that. But it's, you know, I grew up on those fields too. So I definitely am like, we're Palm Harbor and this is what our fields look like. And I know we are short on land there, right? And so there's only so much we can do. But like, there were definite strides made this past year that are amazing with the coverings because we need shade.
Well, and their new board is night and day from where they were, and the partnership that we share now is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And that's you see the fruits of the labor of a partnership. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It was more of a back and forth with the old board and the old regime, so we were happy to see.
You guys are doing an amazing job.
So
the relationship there.
I'm very proud of that. Staff does a great job as a liaison working with them. The last couple things is on February 11th, we will host our free health fair for the community. That Cindy helped me out. Is it 10 to 1?
10 to 1.
10 to 1 on that day. We'll have vendors there that, when I say vendors, they're, you know, insurance companies. There'll be funeral homes there. I think Curlew Hills is one of our sponsors again. So we do this complete free event with private dollars. It doesn't cost our taxpayers anything for us to do because Melanie, our staff person that's in charge of that event, does a great job soliciting sponsorship. So we're excited about that event. And then lastly, but not leastly, for the first time in my 2+ decades, we are partnering with the Palm Harbor Library for our staff development day. We're going to actually do it collaboratively together, have a speaker that speaks to our staff together. We're going to do a fun activity together. We're hoping that Mark and Lois can join us. I haven't gotten the RSVPs yet, but I know they're invited and hopefully they can squeeze it in. It's a day of love because it's on Valentine's Day. So because Martin Luther King is now a paid holiday, which is the day we used to do it. And then for us, we have part-time staff that either go to college or high school. So we will do a separate staff development day for the 8 part-timers that can't attend during the school day. But we're super excited. We'll see if the librarians kill Parks and Rec bowling or if Parks and Rec kills the librarian. We'll see how that works out. Right, Kath?
I think we're all killing each other.
I mean, perhaps. That is all I have.
Well, we get the rails, right? Get the rails.
I already promised John from maintenance the bumpers, so.
And just because staff development days are a combination of team building, fun, recognition, and training. The training piece, we just got confirmed today, I think it was, or yesterday, is going to be from the Elder Affairs agency from Florida, and they're sending a representative to talk about dementia and other topics to help better inform our staffs to better serve the public. So,
and actually the timing of that, because we were wondering how that would pan, and I know Beth's aware of it. We had a staff meeting today, and we're making a huge change in the history of Parks and Rec. We are now going to house our entire staff, indoor, outdoor, at the center in preparation for the new building. So they will check in there, they will punch in there, and then they will, hopefully starting next month if we can get all the furniture moved around. And then they will progress out to the fields and chapel and hall, whatever their day looks like. So we were kind of laughing, how's that going to be? But being housed now at the center where we serve a lot of support groups and, you know, caregivers of dementia, I think it'll be a good topic.
I have a question. So when I look at the main building, it's the building to the left.
Correct.
And that's the one that you're saying has sinkhole action? Or
No, that's what they were doing the soil testing for. Apparently in the building world, and Phil probably knows better than I do because he's in that world, before they decide if the land is worthy of putting a building on, they have to test the soil
They
compaction and all
test the
that.
soil to design the foundation.
Right.
So they do soil borings
Got it.
so they can see what's underneath
They're
it.
just testing it.
Yeah, the density of the soil, or if there is a sinkhole that we don't know about. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Then they'll demo it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Do you guys have like rendering?
We don't have a rendering yet. The architect is still in there. They're supposed to have something to us next month. I'm not holding my breath because nothing has happened on time yet. So why don't we start now?
What's the timeline on the project? That is joke. Sorry.
Well, okay, so no, honestly, I would say realistically, summer of 2027, we might have a building there. So,
Okay.
but it's from
At
demo
least
wrecking
a
ball,
construction trailer.
right? From the wrecking ball to completion allegedly is 18 months.
already.
Yeah. So from wrecking ball to completion is supposed to be an 18-month project. But we all know what happened last year has delayed the world. So we're being patient, step by step.
But I think the building will come down this year.
Hmm?
But the building will come down this year.
No guarantee.
No guarantees, but that's the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the director's report?
The extended director's report.
Aye.
Got a lot of it.
No, that all happens in
Moving on,
separate
we
bits.
have HR report, earlier vote, so we don't have to go there. And Ron gave his report earlier.
Except I have a little bit.
Oh, yes, well, never mind. Focus the liaison.
Last, I don't remember when, but last month, Ron Schultz, a member of the board here, and I, and Matthew took a little tour of Parks and Rec's old footprint. Erica took us out riding in our new truck and we,
That truck is actually like 4 years old already, or 5 years old. I don't even know.
it's nothing ruins a story like a witch. We had, it was very informative, and I've been to all those places by myself several times and whatever, but I really felt like I have a real grasp of how big the deal is. And we looked at some of the storm stuff. We talked about the construction that's coming up. We talked about baseball fields. They have this great little machine that paints the lines, which was pretty cool.
Do you know who uses that exact machine? Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You told me that when.
Yeah.
Carl?
Carl, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little robot thing that paints the lines. Anyhow, it was, the morning was very educational, and I think, all of you should make the same trip. It'll do us good. And I'm gonna, on a root around in the back room of the library.
Yeah, yeah. We could bring there, do.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just gonna say, I think this should be a really good idea if you could meet. I did it when I first came on
Yeah.
board, a long time ago. But they all took me on a great tour and you learn, it brings this whole thing. And they give you a lot of information, everyone will give you a great tour.
Yeah.
Everyone's like that, so.
But Eric has a big job.
It was learn a lot, like sitting down individually with each director.
That $20 was well spent. Thanks, Ron. I'm kidding.
He didn't say you drove that truck there, you were meant to.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. You reached the public better.
Okay, and moving on, I don't know. Agency old business, we didn't have anything coming over, but we do have new business, and number one is background screening for the athletic coaches. Okay, over to
Why are you putting them in?
Because last meeting you said you were gonna look into it because you weren't familiar with the legislation that passed in January.
Right. We still, and we're at the levels that we talked about before. You didn't agree with me before.
No, I don't recall what you said.
Oh,
As we were talking about how we were gonna do our our employees are doing.
Right.
That, we're talking about
We were
athletic
asking,
coaches.
we were asking that, and I thought that was the issue that he just talked about, that the coaches will need to go through that process, yeah.
And then they are so currently in the agreements that we have, probably same as Mark, it says it in their agreement.
Right.
We never receive any evidence of that. Do we need to now because it's now a state mandate?
We just want copies of it.
Okay.
So what I think the discussion was about the clearinghouse wasn't gonna be in effect. Probably at the earliest this spring, but maybe not till next year. And then, so I think it's really loose how well they're gonna, how much they're gonna be checking on everything this year. But once everything is in that same.
Yeah, because I think January of 26 is when they are.
January
talking results.
26th, yeah.
Well, I think we just move it in as quickly as we can.
Mhm.
Because soccer called me yesterday asking, I said, I'll check with the attorney tomorrow.
It seems like all the sports organizations are aware of it.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone, right.
And they're all doing their thing. But yeah, I think we need to have records of it.
Something.
Oh, yeah.
We need to request, and
Mhm.
we absolutely at the minimum need to request. Because we don't want to be put in a position where something comes up and we have each request.
Right.
But I think we need to have a firm deadline for this point forward that must be, or we will have to take action. You think that's 2026? January 1st, we could do that.
No, I think it needs to be now, and then, we can subsequently, it'll be easier to obtain the information in 2026. But I know Little League's mandated by Little League International.
So they have it, so they just need to give it.
Right, we've been loose on whether they really are doing it. We're trusting them that they are.
Mhm.
No, I don't think we should trust them.
Exactly.
Same thing about robotics.
Yeah. So Stephen, looks like you've got some emailing to do tomorrow.
What about Erica, your rentals, like soccer shops and things like that? I mean, would they fall underneath this?
I don't know, they're not programs we run. That's a great question.
Wouldn't it, would people
the facilities.
Right.
Yeah,
under a rental agreement, how to use it? That's the reason why I was curious, because.
I think it goes back to the discussion we had, will we ever have anybody near children?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather be, err and cautious, but.
That's why we did the same thing with the robotics team at Eastlake. They run their own team, but the mentors are all, adults and have to have a background check.
Yeah,
We put that in the memo of understanding for that reason.
But again, I'm like NFL flag, I'm pretty sure they have to be background screened through, have to. So, we just need to
Getting them copies.
ask for certification of that information.
Is it, or is it not covered if they, in the soccer or baseball or a renter in their contract or their agreement that they are required to have that? Does that?
Required to have it, I don't think we require copies.
Well, do we have to have the copy? That's what I'm asking. That's a
I
long.
think we need to have a letter from.
Something to prove that they've done their,
Something that shows
right.
that they've done it.
They've
we've
done
done
their
it.
due diligence.
So like the president of each league or the president of NFL flag, they could give us a letter on their
No, I
agreement saying
agree, but
all of our
where
coaches.
Where you're
have-
going is, you're not going to get a copy of every background for every single coach.
Well, we will. If that's what's required.
Is that required
Yeah.
New legislation.
for us to get?
Required, it's the question is whether or not we need to maintain it.
That's what I'm asking. Do we need to
And my
maintain
answer
that?
to you is I would rather be conservative and make sure that we have copies. If someone doesn't give us copies, we'll deal with it on a case by case basis.
So you do not want a blanket letter like he's suggesting, like soccer would write a letter. I, as president of yada yada soccer organization,
Well.
I hereby declare that.
Okay, so you're asking me from a legal perspective, the best thing for me would to have copies of everybody. Does that mean that we can't defend ourselves by the fact that we have an organization that signs off and says we have made sure that every coach or every person has met this and I affirm that? Yeah, I mean, that's okay. It's not
Okay.
perfect.
I think we'll go after the backgrounds. If we don't, at minimum, we'll get a letter too.
Well, once they're in the clearinghouse. you
We
can
could check.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
But, that's why this is a flux here, we're.
Right, and so we need some kind of, something to say that yes, these people have been checked at a minimum.
Is there something where in this next year that they do the letter from each of these entities that are under us, renting from us, just for this year to have a letter from them, and then moving forward past this year, then a copy is mandatory?
And I think we could, I don't know, Stephen, I mean, you're the liaison, you deal with them more than I do, but I don't think it would be impossible to say, okay, you have 40 coaches, I need 40 background check letters. And, if for some reason they can't provide all 40, then we at minimum want that letter saying,
I think that's the way to go.
yeah,
Yeah,
And we will work with them. this
Right.
year.
right.
soccer shots is gonna be easier. It's one or two coaches.
Yeah, the biggest concern is gonna be the one-offs where it's, dad with his son and 12 of his son's friends that are renting the field. Because technically, he's alone with 12 kids,
Right.
but he's just the dad with
Yeah.
the flag football team with YMCA or on his own. Sometimes we deal with that too, where it's not an actual organization, it's not a league, it's just a dad and 12 neighborhood.
And honestly, that legislation dealt more with organizations. than
Right,
it
and
did
I think
with
you have to have some leeway in this.
Public birthday party.
If they're one-offs.
They're renting.
Well, and I think when we were talking about background checks originally, Andrew, and I'm not going to quote you because then you'll sue me, but you said something to
But
the
he'll charge
effect,
you.
you said something to the effect that there is no expectation of security and safety in a public outdoor space. In other words, if you're in a camp classroom or a robotics classroom, there's an expectation of safety. But when you're at a baseball field in the middle of 8th Street and
There's no expectation, but you're talking about different levels. So if I'm
right,
I'm the coach, there's an expectation.
correct. I'm talking about the dad that shows up at the neighborhood.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. You heard that? It's in the minutes. I'm right. Just kidding. No, just
No,
because.
I meant Erica with the K.
No, just so we know how to deal with the private rentals, but like AAU teams, they should all be background screened through
I
AAU.
mean,
There's no
look,
way.
You need to have that, but you
Yeah.
just can't, the days of not doing that. So,
Gotcha.
especially when you compare it to other organizations are requiring it, then we should.
Well, and it's got PHCSA on the name of it too.
Well, then, yeah, and yes,
Extra protection.
right. I mean, it's our obligation. We do things with children, we do things with elderly, we need to protect these.
Yeah, community services.
Right.
And just a quick point on the clearinghouse, you can't just check. The person has to give you permission. So you have to give them like,
They have a release.
you have to have a release, and then you have to have a form, and you have to provide them with all the privacy rules. And so then you'd have to have them, because you need their social security number and that kind of stuff. So it's not as easy as checking like the sex offender list. You just type in their name and they pop right up. Or not, hopefully.
Nothing says it.
That clarified.
So we gotta, we need to have a set policy then if the clearinghouse can be difficult or how to do the clearing. The expectation. I think we're gonna get a lot of pushback if giving us their social security.
Mm-hmm.
And the organization should have access hopefully to the clearinghouse and just provide you with that paper. And it whites out their social then.
Because you can go in, anyone in our organization, you can go in and you could get that I'm cleared and it whites out my social, right? As a person that has access to our records,
Like
our
I-
ACA number.
Right, I put that out whenever you're hired, yeah, so.
Yeah.
But
So
if-
that would
But
be,
you have to give me permission to look it up,
Right.
so.
Right, but if you give me that information, I can get you out of jury.
that's true.
I think that's a scam.
Okay, perfect.
I know.
Okay, everybody clarified?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on, next Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, 6 p.m., Palm Harbor Library. We are having our HR workshop. I hope you all got the information. She has sent it out. She's going to be walking us through. Are we good to go?
She will be there.
I was gonna say.
That's right.
Well, it is her workshop, so she would be there.
You wanted her.
Give me one.
So everyone will be there, just a reminder. We'll be at the Palm Harbor Library. Okay. And we're getting some designation of our next meeting.
Question before you move on under new business. In our meetings, we are recording our meeting video. Where is it maintained? Do we have a place where we maintain that? Because that's public. It gets emailed to us. Lois puts it on her
YouTube.
YouTube, but where is it maintained for the records?
I don't think there's a central place where it's.
I'm pretty sure there's not.
No.
So
How
there's
they
no,
get onto the website.
it needs to be just like our minutes are maintained and can be sent out. It needs to be maintained if we
If you're gonna
continue.
do it, you have to maintain it, because if someone comes in and asks for a public records request, you have to
Correct.
provide the public record.
So take it one more step. Do we need to video? And I mean, I know we're recording them because tonight Bill's not here. We didn't used to do that. So I know Bill records it. The recording that he makes is public record.
That is,
It needs to be kept as well.
yes.
But it doesn't have to be published, right?
It has to be maintained.
It just has to be maintained.
That's amazing.
If we record it.
So
Is there any legal reason why we're recording them?
There is no legal reason.
Voted on
You practicing law without a license?
I object.
Stay.
I'm reading from person, Cohen, Moody,
You didn't say you
Fernandez,
were
and
reading
Jackson.
it. You said you made it as a statement, and I know that, I know that very well, because I work. No, you are correct. I said earlier,
Thank you.
I said earlier.
May the
all you
minutes
need is
show that
written
Phil was
minutes.
correct. Okay.
You just need written minutes showing who was here, what action was taken, who made the motion, who made the second, what the vote.
So I'm asking a question without making a motion. Do we need to continue to video? I looked at the video. It was very well done from.
Yeah, he's got good, nice equipment.
Well,
Yeah, nice
I
equipment.
wanna say something. Don't forget, we voted as a board to record
Mhm.
the meetings. So that way the secretary is able to pay attention and participate and have knowledge. Whereas when you're doing it, you're writing down so much stuff, you're not actively taking part in the meeting. So the audio recording, I think we can still continue to do. The video, I don't personally see a need for it. But that, and also that audio should be saved on the Google Drive at Palmer Library.
You should absolutely have the audio at a minimum.
Yeah, I think the video was kind of a surprise to me.
It was, yeah, I think it was just because the equipment to record, it's easier to do it all in one than it is just to do audio.
Well, I think it's easier for the secretary too, because otherwise he has to know everybody's voice.
Well,
They're all talking.
But again, all you have to put down is who was here,
Motions.
motion is second, and the vote. So that's all, that's the only things that have to be taken care of. Otherwise, we can say, here's our minutes based on the audio.
So
You would like a copy, or we can forward it to you.
you don't have to have the person making the motion recorded. I mean, you're recorded obviously, but I mean, in print, you don't have to.
My name.
In print, we would still do that,
Right.
yes.
But,
But if he's here, Bill writes that down
right.
pretty easily. He asks always who made the motion, who made the second.
But I think the audio gives you that backup too, and for the person who's writing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, the audio, I definitely think you have to have.
Well,
The video, you don't need to have. That's.
I would like to make the motion that we stop videoing every meeting. So moved. I need a second. Can die. in a
You
second.
need a second.
I'll second it.
I don't like the video. It's just,
You don't look good on camera.
I know, that's the problem. Haircut. It's, I think, I think it can be used against us at times by body motion, facial expression, things that are inferred within the meeting. I just don't. Like it. So the audio, fine. But I'd like to stop videoing.
I also think this board needs to make it on the record where we're housing these minutes. Because they're not being
Let's
housed.
get to this
I
first.
know.
Go through my motion.
Well, maybe he can amend his motion to say.
Well, no, I think they're two separate.
I just don't see the need for the video. That's my opinion. Thought I'd bring it up.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, all in favor of Bill's motion to stop the video, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
Okay.
Failed. So to Erica's point, we do need to have a central location because you have to have a public records custodian.
Which is Shelby.
So they all have to go to Shelby.
Well, but I'd like to make a motion that we store these minutes on the Google Drive, on the Fix a Drive at Palmer Library.
As long as Shelby can have access to those. That's fine. Because anybody comes in, just so you know.
Yeah, no.
Comes in, right?
Yeah.
They need a public record. So to Shelby, and Shelby has to, she can't say, oh, I'll get that to you in a week. She has to get it.
Yeah,
Whenever they ask.
not, fixed employees don't all have access.
I mean, I'm sorry, the administrator,
But, yeah, you already have access to that? Yeah, so
Okay.
that's already done, that's already.
Okay.
So following each FIXA meeting, the host entity will email you the link to the video.
That is helpful and I appreciate that. And I spoke today with Blake about making sure that, you know, we're gonna get the minutes to the website once they've been approved and not before. So we're gonna get it on the website and we'll make sure it's in the, like I said, Google Drive.
Just so you know, before you get to the second, just so you know, they're public records as soon as the meeting's over, so they don't have to be approved. So,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Helpful.
but they're public records as soon as this meeting is over.
Okay, so
Just wanted you to know that.
I appreciate that. Does it matter when we get them on the website? Do we?
Website's different, it's just for public records purposes. If I came in tomorrow and said, I'd like a copy of that, and you have that,
It's
even
immediate.
if they haven't been approved, you have to give them to them.
But you don't have to publish them till they're approved, is what you're saying.
That is correct.
Yeah, but they have to be, so tomorrow someone could come in and say,
Yeah.
Shelby, I want the minutes from last night.
They shouldn't be posted to the site before they're approved in case there's other corrections, right?
The recent ones, yes.
So the corrected minutes are the ones that get approved that night. If there are.
We still need a second. Here's a motion.
You all got too fast.
Jumped in.
I make a motion that the minutes be stored on the PHCSA Google Drive, housed at the Palm Harbor Library.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You vote? Okay. It was unanimous. He said, please go live, he's looking at strong. Keep jumping.
He's trying to keep away from camera.
Dang straight.
Okay, anything else on new business? No matter. Going to the designation of next meeting, but while we're here, I had a discussion with Mark. And Mark is willing to host us up there. I think it'd be really nice if we had one meeting up at Mark's location. But all you haven't been up there. So maybe not the next one, we're always scheduled, but put Mark in the rotation. So one of our meetings upcoming.
Just make sure you go to the bathroom breathing.
I can open. Mark will open the one of
It'll get through.
We'll still have to. It was because we had a really nice. He was very willing to make the accommodations.
Mark, if it's raining, you're gonna have to provide an umbrella and walk us to the bathroom.
And galoshes.
Love to get ready to pay it off.
I know I am.
But
It'll definitely be.
it's not, obviously not next month, but Mark is very gracious about thank you for all, but that was a great idea.
I think they found 18 here tonight, so.
That'll work.
It'll be cozy.
Yeah. I've been doing it. Over 7 years, I've had a meeting up there, but it'll be kind of fun to bring everybody to the facility this one time. It feels, what goes on? He said mine went up there yet. I think is there an issue with having a public meeting if it's not ADA compliant?
Yes, it is.
What about if we did outside?
Do it outside.
Is it ADA?
There's wild hogs up there too, just really.
Well, we tried. Oh, well.
We tried. We go by the goal.
We don't need to vote on it tonight.
Parking
Moving on.
pavilions. Meet outside.
Our bathrooms are ADA compliant. We have people that are in wheelchairs.
Questionable
if they're ADA.
What I'm hearing is a
Right, if someone's in a wheelchair, can they get into the
Yes.
meeting?
That was not.
So then what is about it is not ADA.
Well, the restrooms, I don't think need to.
Stick 'em on.
I mean, you can get a wheelchair in there, but
Oh,
I just.
it's a little, like baseball is, yeah.
so we have a,
Yeah, so we have a.
baseball's got.
Well,
Sounds like we should.
Oh, I thought you just go to the bathroom. Oh, my God.
So we'd have to. I can do. That doesn't have a shot.
Bill, I think you've got.
Let's discuss this at the next one. We're gonna stop,
Yeah.
we're gonna stop videoing.
Hey,
You know what? You can find a way to make it compliant, then we'll.
It's compliant, it is.
We'll find a way.
Okay.
But it's up to you guys, exactly what's compliant. Okay, next meeting will be February 19th at 6 P.M. Palm Harbor Library.
Which is 88.
Which is 88.
Which is 88.
Well, I don't know, they have sketchy front doors.
The door is nice.
We'll have to go in that side door.
Right.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
We'll meet in the second. We'll meet in the
Make
second.
a motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Third, all in favor?
Oh, yes.
Pleasure for you.
It's a pleasure having you.
Something's loose.
Garbage.